Hey guys, it's Card Talker here, and today I'm here with a Royal Paladin deck profile. This is the Sanctuary Guard build, updated with the Daigo set G. So without further ado, let's get right into the deck profile. Now this is just my take on the build, and it's similar to the ones that are topping in Japan, except the ratio for some of the cards are different. I adjusted it in a way that I think is more uh, uh, useful, I guess. But anyway, let's get right into the deck profile. So for the starting Vanguard, running Milius. Skill is Generous Trick 1. Kind of lost 1, move this card into Soul. Search your deck for grade 2 and call it, and then shuffle your deck. So you use it to search for grade 2s, which this deck has a lot of very good grade 2s. So he's a pretty good starting Vanguard. Next we're running 4 Sanctuary Guard Dragons. Mainly running 4 of him is because his call effect is on ride. So whenever you place this card in Vanguard Circle, you can search for you can ditch a Royal Paladin card to search for a grade 1 or lower Royal Paladin and call it. And it's a bit more useful than the Century Arc if you're going first, because you'll be able to get your grade 1s out faster, which might be more useful in a rush situation. So we're only running 2 Century Guard arcs. Skill is Generation Pick 2. On your turn, if for every grade 1 or lower card, this card gets plus 5,000 power. And the second skill is choose one card in your hand and discard it. On your turn, if you have a Century Guard card that strides on top of this card, you can search your deck for a grade 1 or lower card and call it to a Vanguard Circle, and that unit gets plus 2,000 power. And this unit also get your new unit also gets plus 3,000 power. So he's better because he's better in some situations because you can call whenever you stride Regalia or a Sentry Guard, and the unit also gets a power boost. But the power boost is not actually as important as you think. It might hit some bigger numbers in some situations, but for most of the time, it might not. So, yeah, I rather have the earlier call than my stride call, cause yeah. But so we're only running 6 grade 3s, but for grade 2s we're running 4 Blaster Blades. Yeah, Blaster Blade skill is Counter Blast 2. When this card is placed in a Vanguard Circle, you may pay the cost of do. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. And the second skill is Counter Blast 2. When this card is placed in a rear guard circle, if you have a Royal Paladin Vanguard, you may pay the cost of do. Choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or above rear guards and retire it. Not really going to use this effect. Mainly you're going to use his name for blaster things, like blaster support. This deck does run the blaster engine, so yeah. Next, we're running 2 of Knight of Twin Sword. He's pretty good. I would run more, but currently still playing around with the lineup. I might take out a Benon for another Knight of Twin Sword, but that is yet to be seen. Skill is Counter Blast 1. When this Generous Trick 1, Counter Blast 1. When this card attacks, if it's being boosted, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for a card that's not Knight of Twin Sword, that's a grade 2, and call it to a Regard Circle. So most of the time, you're going to be doing some blaster combo attacks with Sanctuary Guard, so they get hit for those big numbers. Next, we're running 3 Benon. Benon this is a pretty good rush card. Most of the time, if you get this early game, you can generate quite a bit of advantage early on. So skill is Counter Blast 1. When this card is placed on a rear guard circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, you can search for a deck for a 6,000 power or lower card and call it in the same color as this card. So yeah, you're probably going to be searching for Richard to get that extra draw. Pretty nifty. Next, we're running 4 of the Lius. It's a pretty good card. It's a new card. He helps you combo a chain attack, which is very important in this build. So skill so when this card is being boosted by a blaster, by Barkle, the new Barkle and the new Flogel, this card gets plus 3,000 power and a new skill. And the new skill is kind of last one. Move this card into your soul. When this card attacks at the end of the battle, you can pay the cost if you do. Search your deck for a card with blaster. It's a grade 2. And call it to your rearguard circle, and then shuffle your deck, and then during that turn, that card get plus 3,000 power. So you start your chain of attacks with Knife Twin Sword, and then you can combo it into a. Actually, no, you can't. Well, yeah, you can. You can combo it, chain it into a Liu if you don't have a Liu on the field already, and then you can go into Blaster Blade afterwards. But that's assuming you don't have the other column with the grade 2 in it. Anyway, I'll explain it a bit later. So next we're running 3 Richards, which skill is if this card is called from the deck to rearguard circle, if you roll Paladin Vanguard, you can pay the cost. If you do, Soul Blast 1, and then draw a card. So yeah, the cost is Soul Blast. Yeah, it's pretty good. There's a clone of this if you don't have the Daigo deck for some reason. It's printed in the friggin' GBT02, I think. I think her name is Miron, or something like that. Next, running 4 Stride Fighters. Since we're only running 6 grade 3s, running 4 Stride Fighters is probably the smart thing to do. Ugh. Next, running 3 Blaster Friends. Barkle. Mainly, he's here for you to boost Liu. Besides that, he's not that useful because you need to have a Blaster Vanguard in order to countercharge. But it's fine. Using him for his name is fine. And I guess if you ride Blaster Blade and you call him Blaster Blade in grade 2, it helps you countercharge. But yeah, so running 3 is fine. Most of the time you want to boost with Flogo anyway. So yeah. So we're running 4 Perfect Guards because actually you probably should run Perfect Guard Gs instead, but my Perfect Guard Gs are still in my Alfred deck. So yeah, I'm gonna take them out soon and replace it with these. But yeah. Alright, so next we're running 4 Flogos. Flogo is pretty key. Her skill is kind of last one. When a Blaster Blade attacks a Vanguard, at the end of the battle, you can pay the cost if you do. Choose a Vanguard Blaster Blade and stand it up. And put this card into your deck and shuffle it. So basically you can withstand the Blaster Blade that you called out with Liu. Yeah. This deck, your Vanguard usually doesn't have a lot of counter blast, but your rear guards do eat up a lot of counter blast. So we're running 12 crit just to maximize the damage that you do if you do stack a crit on Blaster Blade. And 4 heals, of course. So let's move on to the G zone before I explain the deck a bit. I'm sure by now a lot of you know how to play the deck already, but just in case. So we're running 4 Sentry Guard Regalies. I actually want to bump this up to 4, but there's some stuff that I'm still playing around with to see if it's actually useful. Most of the time you won't use 4 because your opponent's going to be dead by then, or you'll be dead by then. But anyway, 3 is perfectly fine. Skill is on your turn, if you have a Sentry Guard Heart, for every grade 1 rear guard you have, your front row gets plus 3,000 power. So most of the time you'll be buffing your front row by 9k. There are times when you have 4 great ones, and if that's the case, then you buff it by 12k, which is quite scary. So yeah. Next, we're running one Samuel. This is the card I want to take out. I don't really want to use this card, but it is a tech. So, one of him. Skill is when this card attacks, kind of lost 2 damage. If your opponent's damage is 4 or less, and you have 5 or more rear guards, you might pay the cost. If you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So yeah, it just deals damage to your opponent. In case your opponent wants to do miracle heal or something, or they want to take an extra hit, so that reasons and stuff. So yeah, next we're running 4 Aerial Knight. I use this card like twice in this build. Yeah, he's actually not bad. In case you don't have any grade 2s, he's not bad. Next we're running one Godblade. Godblade, most of the time you're not going to use Godblade, but in case you somehow can't have a back row for some reason, then I guess you can use Godblade. It never happened to me before. By the time I can stride, my back row is usually full already, so full or almost full, something like that. Next we're running 2 Saint Blow Dragons. Saint Blow skill is Persona Flip himself, and then for every rear guard you have, he gets plus 3,000 power. And if you have 2 or more face-up cards in your G zone, then during the turn this gets extra critical, and you can't stack this effect. So yeah, I've never actually used this card in this build. Your rear guards are much stronger. And we're running one of the Sentry Guard, the new Sentry Guard from the Daigo set. Skills once per turn, you can count loss 1. If you have a Sentry Guard Heart, you can choose one of your grade 1 or lower rear guards, and during that turn, this card gets a new skill. And the skill is, for every grade 1 or lower rear guard, this card gets plus 3,000 power. And another skill is, when this card attacks, hits, you can choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets plus 10,000 power and an extra critical. So he's a pretty subpar effect, but it does put a bit of pressure on your opponent. Yeah, he does put a bit of pressure on your opponent. So I used him like once just to try it, and it didn't really work very well. Yeah, I would probably run one more Sentry Guard Regali over this. It would be better if it didn't hit, but if it didn't have to hit, but it's fine. For the G Guardians, I'm running 2 of the one from the class specific one. If this card's placed in the Guardian Circle and you have a grade 2, at least 1 grade 2 rear guard, then you get an extra 5,000 power, so it becomes a 20k shield. 1 metal screw just for that 25k shield in case you need it. And we're running the Dark Elemental, which protects one of your rear guards, and it also acts as a 15k shield for your Vanguard. So that's it for the main deck. Let's do a bit of explaining. Alright, so you're gonna be striding into Regali most of the time. And then you're probably gonna have, just say, your back row will look something like this. It's really easy to fix your field because you can search for grade 1s and grade 2s. So this deck is pretty good. Alright, let's just say something like this. It really doesn't matter what this column is. But, alright, so just say something like this. So you're gonna have your field like this, and your front row is gonna get plus 9k. You can also do something like this, I guess. But the thing with this is you want to have a blaster blade, right? So a lot of time you're going to attack with your Vanguard first. If you don't have a blaster blade, you might want to attack with this first. And first you're putting the guard, and then summon or call a blaster blade like that. Then he'll still be a 19k Vanguard. And then not 19k Vanguard, 18k column. And then I'll attack with this. So then you stack all your triggers onto your blaster blade. If you get triggers and stuff, then let's just say you get one trigger. Then your blaster blade will be at 23k by himself. And then you'll attack. If your opponent's at 3, you might want to. If your opponent's at, let's say, 4 or something, you might want to attack with blaster blade first. Attack. They'll probably guard it, and then you're gonna use Flogo skill. Put it back in your deck. Restand it. But since now that you only have 2 great ones, his power will be nerfed by 3,000, so he'll only be attacking for 20k, which is still fine. It'll still cost. Actually, no, it'll be 23 because of Liu's effect. So it'll still be forcing 15k guard of your opponent's hand. The main thing is this column will be hitting for a lower number, so I guess that's a bummer. But it'll be still hitting for. This will be still hitting for 20k, I believe. So it's still better than him being a. Yeah. So. Yeah, most of the time you'll be stacking power in your blaster blade and stuff so that you can. Restand attack with it. Because that's the really scary thing about it is, blaster blade swing for 20 something k, and he can restand. It's pretty powerful. Regalia in general just buffs your whole field, buffs your front row, so you'll be hitting for some pretty big numbers. A lot of times your opponent can't handle it, especially if you rush your opponent. Rush your opponent earlier, like with you just call Ben on and stuff, or if you have attack with blaster and stuff early on. They'll still have a hard time guarding against it. And for example, if you use the blaster combo early on, and your opponent doesn't have shield, they'll take a lot of damage. And then by the time you shot your first stride into Regalia, even without the restand, you'll be hitting for really big numbers. So your opponent will probably have a really hard time guarding. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this deck. It's pretty fun. It's pretty competitive. I'd say it's topping quite a lot in Japan still. So yeah, I am not doing the balls to walls for Grade 4 version. There's like less of those decks in Japan now too. You'll see them going up like 5 to 6 Grade 3s. I guess it's more consistent that way because now decks can unstuck themselves. I'm not running the Seabreeze because it's not really necessary in this deck. That card is more necessary in those generation break specific decks. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck profile. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Kartaku, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.